A few months back, I spent a little while making the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass version of Coconut Mall look a little more like the original. There was lots of replacing textures and adding little details. And this week, I want to take that model and make it a little spookier. We're decorating Coconut Mall for Halloween. Well, that is, assuming Coconut Mall is still in one piece. Yeah, that's mostly good. But it looks like the track is already ahead of me, with these mysterious ghost ships. I was able to make them alive again, but I'll keep that ghost ship idea in mind. Now, if there's anything I've learned from Blender, it's probably that I'm not good at organizing things. And if there's a second thing I've learned, it's that you can change the whole feeling of a model by switching up the skybox and lighting. So I put in this spooky sky and made the sun a bit dimmer and bluer. Now I can pretty much stop right here, because this looks pretty spooky. But let's keep going and see what else we can do. I put this emissive sphere in the sky right about where the moon should be on the skybox texture. This new blue haunting moonlight look is gonna be awesome from the inside of the mall. But I'm gonna need to fix the glass, since it isn't wanting to work in this new version of Blender. I was just starting to get somewhere when I realized that I should probably save the project before it randomly crashes. And as it would turn out, it was the saving that crashed the project, which of course means back to square one. But after a few minutes of angrily checking boxes, everything was back to how it was. But that kinda didn't matter, since it would probably crash again if I tried to save now. So I went around the model and did my best to optimize the polygon count. I was able to get it down from 258K to 214K. But what really ended up speeding up the saving was hiding these collections of lights. Now it took a matter of seconds to save rather than a matter of minutes. Well, now that that's taken care of, I went back outside and adjusted the skybox a bit. I want the moon to be more easily captured in a shot of the front of the building. And you know, I think we're missing something. I can see perfectly fine out here, which is an issue. So I created a fog volume on a cube. It wasn't working at first, but that was because I had it plugged into the surface output rather than the volume output. And there we go, a solid brick of fog obscuring absolutely everything. But I think that's a bit too much, so I set the density down to 0.01. There we go. Let's get back inside now and get that glass working. Now I never really figured out what went wrong, or maybe what went right with this, because I had everything checked that should have made the glass translucent. I had it set to dithered mode, ray trace transmission was checked, and I had transmission cranked all the way up. But for some reason, it would only work when I turned the IOR all the way down to 1. But who am I to try and understand the mysteries of Blender? I'm just glad that the glass is being glass now. But there's still an issue. There's a pretty out-of-place reflection in the glass from the HDR I'm using. I like the way it lights the scene, but the reflection just doesn't make any sense. So instead, I just used the skybox texture as an HDR. Now we've got all of the basics set up, which means we can move on to making some real changes around here. I went to the models resource and downloaded a whole bunch of models I might use, the most important being King Boo from Luigi's Mansion 3, because he's taking over Coconut Mall. He's haunted mansions, a hotel, and now he's haunting this iconic shopping mall. This model looks great and was very easy to set up, so I figured I might as well add some animations. I keyframed the gem on his crown to rise, rotate 45 degrees, then fall and rotate 45 more, and repeat. Then I switched to pose mode and made some subtle face animations. This sign won't work at all. We need some green and purple. So I made the back purple and made the letters a translucent green. Then I blasted an area light through them to make them glow. I could have just made them emissive, but the area light will do a better job lighting everything around it. That'll do for the outside. Let's head back in and work on the indoor lighting. I made the ceiling lights purple. This is kind of going to be the main color alongside the moonlight coming through the windows. But I also want to have an assortment of lurid tones humming from each of the stores. And as you can see, I got some new lights set up on the pillars above the flowers. But these flowers don't quite look right, so I desaturated them and gave them colors that fit King Boo's version of Coconut Mall. Now I can unhide this area's lights and begin recoloring them. I made sure not to have red next to green to avoid making things look too Christmassy, although that could be something to think about closer to December. Well, things are looking pretty fun in here, but I think the Toad Toy Store could use some work. So I made all of the lights green and purple, and did the same with the stars on the outside, which are now emissive. Then I took the red mushroom pattern texture into Photoshop and made it purple. That's more like it. I spent a little longer getting the lighting just right and eventually made my way to Delfino Dream. Or at least, that's what it used to be called. This store is the perfect opportunity to sell some Luigi's Mansion merch, and since the exposed boards already gave this place a bit of a condemned vibe, I might as well play into that. But before I could get that going, I had an idea that I just had to get to real quick. See, now that this building has all of these purple lights inside, I should update this texture and make it a bit emissive. That way we've got some purple spilling from the windows. And while I was out there, I set up some purple lights in the entrance. Alright, let's get back to Delfino Nightmare and spruce the place up a bit. I looked around in Twisted Mansion and found just the candles I was looking for, as well as some spooky trees. I set the trees up first, replacing the palm trees in the main room. Then I set some of those wall candle sconce candelabra things up. Now that we've got some spooky lighting, the obvious next step is a giant egad, cause I'm gonna steal his glasses and sell them, as well as his shoes. I hear this sweet potato design is really in right now. I also put up a few EGAD lab coats on the hangers over here. And after messing with the lighting just a bit more, this is about all I can manage this week. I had originally planned on just making this a 1-week video and doing some kind of non-revamp related Luigi's Mansion video next week. But I'd really love to see what I can do with another week on this model. Plus, I'm not really sure I'd be adding that much with another Luigi's Mansion video. I've already got plenty of those. So let me know, do you want to see more of this next week? Not that I won't just still do that anyways, even if nobody says anything. Anyways, I really appreciate you watching. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.